Welcome to Sally Beauty DIY University. My name is Sigourney Nuñez and I am an education manager at OPI North America. I am so excited to share with you all my DIY tips to getting beautiful nails at home. Today we're going to be talking about the dynamic pairing nail art trend. What does that mean? It simply means pairing nude colors with bold hues. And today I'm going to show you 3 beautiful looks you can execute all on your own. The first look is going to be a dry brushing technique. Here, as you see, we paired a really beautiful nude with pops of pink. Next, I will show you my signature side swoosh look, followed by a really beautiful abstract French. If you have any questions for me, don't hesitate to let me know in the comments below, and I'd also love to hear where you're watching from. So first, I'm going to start off with this beautiful dry brush. Today, we're going to be focusing on, again, the dynamic color pairing trend. So for the nude base that I'm using for this look is OPI's Samoan Sand. It's a tried and true nude beige and obviously a classic. Then I'm going to be using Mod About You to create that dry brushing. This is one of our iconic pinks, followed by Strawberry Margarita. But before I can start any look, base coat is super important. One of the most commonly asked questions I get on Instagram is, how do you get your nails to last so long or prevent chipping? Of course, prep is going to make all the difference. So once you trim your nails to the desired shape and length, push back the eponychium to reveal the true cuticle, then remove all those excess oils with something like isopropyl alcohol, then you're ready to move on to your base coat. Today I'm going to be using OPI's Natural Nail Base. So again, if you have any questions for me, don't hesitate to let me know in the comments below. So first I'm going to start off with the base coat. My nails have already been prepped. I'm going to start with a little bit under the cuticle area, then pull down. I'm going to rotate my hand so I can see what I'm doing. Then rotate in the opposite direction. And lastly, super important to cap the free edge. When you cap the free edge, that simply means you're adding product to the tip of the nail. If you wear nail polish, you'll see that the first place where the polish starts to chip is right at the free edge. So ensuring you do not skip this step is going to make sure your nails last a little bit longer. So I'm going to go ahead and add this base coat to all of my 3 nails. Today I am going to be sort of jumping back and forth between looks because I am using nail polish. Nail polish takes time to dry, so I'm going to go ahead and talk about each step one by one for all of the 3 looks that I'm going to be showing today. I'm so excited to be here. We are also going to be mentioning all the products that I'm using on the space below, and you can always shop at sallybeauty.com. So once I let my base coat dry a little bit, I'm going to get ready to put on my first coat of that gorgeous new shade called Samoan Sand. But of course, I don't do my nails without my tried and true tools. One of the tools that I always use, and I never do my nails without, is a trusty cleanup brush. This is just your average artist brush, but if you don't have one, you can use something like an old eyeliner brush. Just promise me you're never going to use it on your face again, because you're going to be dunking it in remover, right? So this is just your standard artist brush. I like this one in particular because it has a really tapered bristles. And then I'm going to be using some remover like OPI's Expert Touch Nail Lacquer Remover to do any cleanup as needed. So it's been a couple seconds since we've put on the base coat, and now I'm ready to move on to my next step. So here I'll be using OPI Samoan Sand. This is that beautiful beigey nude. One thing that's super important is before you apply your color, you want to make sure you roll the polish so that all of the pigment and all of the formula is perfectly blended. So I've done that off camera, so no need to show you here. Now I'm going to go ahead and put on 1 coat of Samoan Sand, getting super close to the cuticle area, making sure not to flood. Pull it down, tilt my hand to get on one side, then the other, and then cap the free edge. We're going to let that dry for a little bit. But next, I'll move on to my second look. This is going to be a beautiful side swoosh look. What I really love about this is that minimal tools are needed, but it's also a play on the negative space trend that I personally really love because it's quick and easy to execute, and you also don't need to paint your entire nail to do this. So it's kind of like my lazy girl hack. For this look, I'm going to be using Don't Bossa Nova Me Around. Don't Bossa Nova Me Around is one of my personal favorite nude shades that OPI has to offer. This one's a really subtle, dusty pink rose that is super pretty. So for this look, I'm going to show you my first nail art technique. For this, we're going to be doing that side swoosh, right? After you've mixed the formula, you want to get rid of much product as product. Then I'm going to use the corner, tilt my nail a little bit, and again, only using the corner of the brush to carefully do a side swoosh. Then I'm going to fill in the rest of the nail and cap the free edge for wear. If you look closely, I have some boo-boos, but no big deal. This is where your cleanup brush comes in place. So I'm going to dip my cleanup brush in remover, clean up any boo-boos. I'm going to repeat that one more time. And then if needed, if my side swoosh wasn't perfect, I can go ahead and use my cleanup brush to make that side swoosh super crispy. A commonly asked question I get when I do this technique is, will this step impact my base coat? The answer is yes. As you clean up the little side swoosh, you are removing some of that base, but it's not that big of a deal because you still have base at the cuticle area and at the free edge, and so you're still going to get that long wear. I'm going to let that dry a little bit, and I'm going to move on to my third look. For this abstract French, I'm using OPI's top 10 seller bubble bath. So again, if you have any questions for me, let me know in the comments below. I got my friends from the Sally Beauty team in the chat, so I would love to hear any of your questions. So now I'm going to move on for my first coat of bubble bath. Again, getting close to the cuticle area, but don't flood it. Pull it down. Pull your nail from one side, then the other, and cap the free edge. Of course, today we are using nail polish, so we're going to give that time to dry. I'm checking in with my friends at Sally Beauty to see if there's any comments in the chat. Okay, no questions yet. But I'd also love to hear where you're tuning in from. Today I'm going live from Los Angeles. And if you're just joining us, my name is Sigourney Nuñez, and I'm an education manager for OPI. Today I'm sharing with you all of my DIY nail art techniques. The first look I'm going to be showing you is a dry brushing look, followed by a negative space side swoosh, and an abstract French. I'm using all OPI shades today that are available to purchase at sallybeauty.com. So now that we've given that some time to dry, I'm going to go ahead and do that second coat of Samoan sand. Again, Samoan sand is that beautiful beigey nude. Looks great on toes when you're at the beach. So just carefully adding a second coat, cap the free edge. And you can see, even though I have a couple of different nudes, they all look really good with my skin tone. Next, I'm going to follow it up with a second coat of my side swoosh. So again, for this look, you want to remove as much product as possible from the brush. Then you're going to use the corner of your brush, tilt your finger, again, only using the corner to paint that side swoosh, and then fill in the rest of the nail. Next, I have a little bit of boo-boos. using my cleanup brush, dipped in remover. I'm using OPI Expert Touch Nail Lacquer Remover for this. And then just doing that cleanup. Okay, if you look closely, that side swoosh looks good, but I want it a little bit more crisp. So I'm going to use the same brush, dipped in remover, to refine that line. Just simply doing a quick swipe, and then you have a more refined side swoosh. Looking good. And now I'm going to add a second coat of bubble bath. This is one of Susie Weiss Fishman's favorite nudes because it reminds her of her favorite form of self-care, which is taking a bubble bath. And for those of y'all who are OPI fans, I'm sure you know that 2020 marks the 40th anniversary of the brand. And every week this year, we've been featuring beautiful shades from our core lineup. This week in particular, we are celebrating Don't Bossa Nova Me Around, which is that beautiful dusk pink nude. I would love to hear what your favorite OPI shade by adding it in the comment below. Just going to let that dry a little bit. Just checking in with my friends if there's any comments in the chat. Jill Franklin's asking, how do I get rid of callous cuticles from picking and over trimming? Jill, that's a really great question. One of my best pro tips is to add a cuticle oil to your beauty routine. Cuticle oil and moisturizing it, massaging it in at the cuticle area is going to ensure that you are moisturizing your tips and you're also promoting nail growth. And by keeping your cuticles moisturized, it's going to help soften over time. Okay, now that we've let that dry a little bit, we're going to start to show you how to do that dry brushing technique. For this, I'm going to use Mod About You and Strawberry Margarita. The dry brushing technique is really easy, but this step is super important. Once you grab your desired shade, remove excess product from the neck of the bottle. You basically want to ensure that you're dry as brush. That's why it's called the dry brushing technique. So removing as much excess product, then at the cuticle area or wherever you prefer, do a quick painterly swipe. And you can see there's a little bit of like that abstract look. I'm going to repeat the same step with Strawberry Margarita. Removing as much excess product at the neck of the bottle. And then doing a painterly-like stroke to get that abstract look. And that's it. That was super easy. These shades are super pigmented, so there is no need to go back and add that second coat. You already have your nail art. Once it's dry, add some top coat, and you're good to go. So that was for the dry brushing look. Now I'm going to go ahead and move forward to the side swoosh look. So for this very similar technique, removing as much product, and I'm going to use the corner of this brush. I'm going to rotate my nail so I can see what I'm doing, using the corner, then rotating my hand carefully, doing that swoosh, fill in the free edge, and then removing any boo-boos. Okay? Really easy. I will go ahead and add a second coat for opacity, but for now we will move on to the next nail. for the next look, I will be using a nail palette. This is just a remover wrap, nothing fancy. And I'm going to add Arigato from Tokyo on my palette. Then I'll be using a detail brush. And next I'm going to paint some squiggly lines. I'm going to do basically like a lazy question mark, if you will. That was super easy. And then I'm going to fill in that section. This look has been really popular on my Instagram account and my TikTok. And I think one of the reasons why it's so popular is because it's really easy to do and it doesn't require any precision. The weirder, the better. But one way you can make this look really pop is, again, by pairing those bold hues and a beautiful natural nail base. So for this, I did use Bubble Bath. I'm going to let that dry. And I'm going to go ahead and add my second color. This is How Does Your Zen Garden Grow? It's a really unconventional green for this time of year, but I love it because of its pale zen qualities. Going to add that to my palette. Making sure my brush is clean. When I'm doing detail work like this, I like to pull the brush to ensure that it's nice and crisp, and it'll allow me to have better precision when I do my line work. So again, just going to add another squiggly line. Have the two shapes connect, and then fill that section. And then you have your abstract swooshy French. So now I'm just going to go ahead and complete the middle finger, which is our negative space side swoosh. Add a second coat of Do You Lilac It? Removing any excess product. Going to use the corner of my brush to do that side swoosh. Capping the free edge, of course. What will happen if you don't cap the free edge is you might get some premature chipping, and that would totally suck after all that hard work. So now everything's looking really good. Just going to wait for my pointer finger to dry a little bit. Add some more color to my palette. And just refine that pink shape. No need to fill in the whole section because it's totally opaque already. And you can see these looks come to life on my own nails. Looks like we have a question in the chat. I'd love to hear it. How do you fix my nails from peeling and splitting once they get a little more than halfway up the nail bed? How do I fix my nails from peeling and splitting once they get a little more than halfway up the nail bed? That's a really great question. I personally love incorporating nail strengtheners to my nail care routine on top of my cuticle oil. So something like Nail Envy or the Infinite Shine conditioning treatments would be really great for you. Thank you for your question. Just kind of refining a little shape here. And now to seal the whole look, just going to move this out of the way. I'm going to use OPI Top Coat to get that glossy finish. One of my biggest pro tips when I'm adding top coat is you want to float a bead of product. You don't want to have the brush touch your nail too much in order to prevent smearing. So for this, I'll show you. Have a bead of product form at the tip of the brush and then float that bead over. Here's how it looks. Just gonna float that bead over. I'm making sure I cap the free edge. And there's the dry brushing look. I'll go ahead and move on to the next nail. Letting a bead of product form. Floating it over. Cap that free edge. Then we'll do it again for the last nail. And capping that free edge. So there you have it. Beautiful, dynamic, color pairing nail art. You can wear all these looks together or individually, totally up to you. But the trend for this season is to do it up with color. Single colored manicures are taking a backseat to multicolored tips. So I hope my techniques today inspired you to get a little bit creative with shades. And lastly, if you are super impatient and don't want to wait for nail polish to dry, I would absolutely recommend that you use OPI Drip Dry. This is a drying agent, and it also has some moisturizing properties. So once your top coat dries a little bit, just going to give it a couple more seconds. Get some product. And when you use Drip Dry, you want to tilt your hand down and apply it at the cuticle area. Because again, this Drip Dry has moisturizing properties, so you want your cuticles to benefit from that. Tilting your hand a little bit, adding a drop right at the cuticle area, repeating on all fingers. And then this is going to go from wet to set in 60 seconds. Just going to check in one more time if there are any questions. I got a question here asking, how do you achieve the free edge of your nails to be that beautifully white? Mine are yellowish, thank you. Hey, from Russia, thank you so much for joining, and thank you so much for your question and your nice, sweet compliment. That was really sweet. So how do I prevent my nails from getting yellow? So when you're doing your nails at home, you never want to skip the base coat. The base coat not only will allow for more maximum adhesion, but it's also going to prevent staining on the natural nail. Nail polish can be super pigmented, so in order to add a barrier to prevent that layering, that yellowing, use natural nail base. But if your nails are already yellow, a really random pro tip is that you can use whitening toothpaste and then just quickly scrub your natural nail plate. And that's going to get rid of some of that staining. I hope I answered your question. So I hope you all enjoyed these techniques today. Today we were able to use Samoan Sand, Strawberry Margarita, and What About You to create a dry brushing look. Then we used Don't Bossa Nova Me Around and Do You Lilac It for a negative space side swoosh. And lastly, we paired Bubble Bath, Arigato from Tokyo, and How Does Your Zen Garden Grow to create a beautiful abstract swooshy French. I hope you all enjoyed these techniques. Make sure to follow OPI, Sally Beauty, and myself, Nail Art by Sig, and we'll catch you all next time. Thank you.